So the day's rolling on here at ACT23. I bumped into Trudi Sully from Mott MacDonald, consultant there, and Trudi was integral in the Value Toolkit and the Product Platform Rulebook. Trudi, could you give us an insight into that and what does it mean for construction?
Sure. So those were two of the biggest outputs from the Construction Innovation Hub, which was a government-funded program for 4.5 years to really bring together government clients with the industry to develop better processes and approaches to improve productivity and performance and efficiency in construction, which we all know is key to the future delivery of all of our infrastructure needs. So the Value Toolkit is a means to make better, consistent, value-based decisions. So talking about value, not just cost all the time. Cost is always going to be key, and it is an integral part of it, but whole life value. So it's a systemised way to do that, and that's with the Infrastructure Projects Authority, and will be coming much more public soon. The Product Platform Rulebook, on the other hand, it's a guide. It gives you all the information to be able to start your individual organisation journey towards developing product platforms, which is also part of government policy. It's also about delivering efficiency, and it's about balancing standardisation and the benefits that come from that with variability. So we're not talking boring boxes, we're talking really dynamic, efficient, productive ways of delivering our infrastructure.
Yeah, so I was at the UK Metals Expo last month, and I sat in on a talk, and they were talking about designing not just to construct but also to deconstruct. Is that exactly what it's all about?
Yeah, exactly. And we talk about climate, we talk about emissions and net zero and carbon and all this language, but a lot of time it's very confusing because there's so much, but we all know how important it is. And if you are designing for manufacture and assembly, then it's about designing to make things more easily that come together more efficiently and effectively. So you design out waste, which is a huge impact just in itself, let alone the materials you use, how much you use them, reducing over-engineering, but creating really efficient processes and delivery. And the Value Toolkit actually also, it looks at things like social and environmental impact. So it's not just about the bits, it's not just about the building, it's not just about who's delivering it. It's a much more holistic approach to everything.
Yeah, and I suppose another keyword, which you didn't mention there, is collaboration. Yeah. I saw you on a webinar earlier this year, Dave Cooper, and you said collaboration is a big part, and we've seen that right the way through the supply chain, haven't we?
Absolutely, and that's the Construction Innovation Hub was probably the biggest collaborative research and innovation program that's happened in construction. When I started with construction, I found it so bizarre because every project is a collaborative venture, isn't it? There's always multiple different parties involved, but then they go their own way, and the learnings aren't sort of fed back in, and then they go back into compete mode, and that's critical to the success of an industry. But if you actually collaborate to innovate and create change, everybody benefits. So don't compete in these environments when you can actually work together to overcome common challenges, and we'll move forward much faster, we'll become more profitable much more quickly, and we'll get better buildings. So it is a win-win.
Yeah, and something else you touched upon in that Dave Cooper webinar was a project Tata Steel involved in the seismic building in Watford. Is that an example of modular building done well?
Yeah, and it's one of these great projects as well. There's lots of projects that were funded through the Transforming Construction Challenge, and seismic, it brought together traditionally competitive companies who recognised the opportunity to work together, so that collaboration is key again, to actually develop a system and an approach that could be reused, redeployed, but in a reconfigurable way, so you get variety, it can address multiple different types of assets. And I think this is one of those really great pioneering ambassador kind of projects that demonstrate the opportunity to get these efficiencies, to reduce emissions, to reduce cost, deliver better. So it's a great project, and I really hope it is successful going forward.
Yeah, great. Because we just sat on a talk through that room there, talking about Trim All Fast Fit, one of the products from Building Systems UK, and they claim it's 80% quicker to put up, it's 80% safer, fewer accidents, and I think they said 60% fewer lorries on the road, so it's less disruption. Is this the future of construction, do you think?
Absolutely, and those sort of numbers are what we really have to show and prove. And the real benefits of these approaches and these systems comes with repetition. So you get economies of repetition. The more you do it, the more you build in continuous improvement. So learn, identify where there are still challenges, go back, how can we do this, how can we be more efficient, how can we make sure that every lorry on the road is at its full capacity and that it is doing the optimum journey and that it is potentially connecting different locations to be able to be more efficient. So we're not just creating congestion through what we're doing, but actually being more efficient across the whole process.
Yeah, so on the flip side of that, so buildings sort of made in factories rather on-site, does that mean we're going to be losing labourers, the likes of brickies and our carpenters?
No, and that's a really good question because that so often comes up. The simple fact is that we have a demographic across the industry which is ageing, that a significant proportion of our workers are over 55. Skilled labour is always at a shortage, and we have other challenges, economic and political challenges, which have really impacted on that recently. So what we want to do is create more efficient ways to deliver buildings. But I mentioned earlier about the variability still. It's not about making everything the same. It's about standardising where it creates efficiencies and balancing that with the specific, the bespoke. And we will still always need chippies and brickies and plasterers and so on. And they will be used in the best way, in the best place, and actually be able to really use their skill set where it's needed, rather than doing things which are highly repetitive or actually just not really their area at all, which we see all too often.
Okay, thanks so much for your time, Trudi. We've got another session to go to, so yeah, thanks again, and I'll catch up with somebody else soon.